I feel like you never know where those lessons are gonna come from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big experience guy. So if you tell me some shit and that I've never experienced, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, yo, that's crazy. Like, how could you do that? Be like, oh, for you, it probably worked out. You know,
Yeah.
like.
Because that's part of not giving solicited advice too. Because there's a lot of people that judge people based on what they do.
Yeah.
And they've never done it themselves, you know? And lately, for me, it's like, would you take advice from someone that you wouldn't trade lives with?
Yo, one of two things is gonna happen. You're gonna show up Wednesday, next time it's for class, or you're not gonna do this again. I want you to be there for me when shit is bad, dude. Don't just come ride the coattail when things are cool now, you know? Like, I'm working alongside two dudes that I fucking grew up listening to in Cameron and Mace. I think like The Coddling of the American Mind was such a fascinating book, and I always reference it as like probably my favorite book ever, because it's like, yo, if you were coddled by your friends and your parents, then when you hit the real world, then people aren't gonna be nice to you, dude. And it's one problem I find in the content space a lot, that people do not show their personality.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Fit and Frugal. My name's Tawni. Today I have here with me my friend Nick. He's going to introduce himself, but if you guys don't know, now you know.
I like it. Nick Dais, born and raised New Yorker.
So if you don't know, now you know.
Moved out to Vegas about a year ago, and yeah, I'm a content creator too. Got a sports betting show, sports show, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I think right before this, before we cut into being super appropriate, we were talking about cocaine and hookers and strippers and all of the good stuff that what Vegas is known for.
Yeah. It's it does have a lot of misconceptions though, I think, Vegas. Yeah. Like when I've been coming to Vegas since I'll be 33 in March. I've been coming to Vegas since I was like 21, right? But like doing dumb shit with my friends and bachelor parties and all that, and just guys trips, and definitely have indulged in strip clubs. Always a good time. And I'm not a strip club guy either.
Yeah, how so?
Because it was always like awkward and weird to me. But when I go on vacation, I'm all in. Kind of down with the strip clubs.
Yeah,
But also like it got to be like a dope city. It can't be like Wyoming. No offense to Wyoming. I've never been. That's not a city. That's a state. But for me, I've always like, I go to Miami often. I come to Vegas often. In New York, I went to one strip club one time, and it was by accident. And I ended up knowing one of the strippers I went to high school with her.
I love stories
And I almost
like
I got thrown out of the place because you're not supposed to touch them.
Oh, but you gave her a
So she
hug.
walked over to me and hugged me, and then like within seconds, two bouncers just fucking yanked me off. She was like, no, and like they kind of just, I don't know if they had like a hit out for me or something, but they just like tossed me out. I was like, yo, this is why I don't come to places like this, bro. It's just
This is
so
why I don't
weird.
leave my house, man.
Yeah,
I have
it's
a
not
question.
thing.
I have a question though. What is the best city with the best strippers, best strip club in general?
You're asking the wrong.
Come on.
the
Well, in your
wrong
experience.
guy. I love Miami.
No, big booty bitches.
I mean, look, I have a thing for Spanish chicks. It's well documented. Anyone that follows me
It's well
knows
documented.
that. 11 is a really cool place, and that's another place that has like a huge misconception. It's like a nightclub.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a strip club, and it's a pretty cool time there.
Yeah.
We know some people that work there like behind the scenes, not just like performers, and it's always a good ass time there. Yeah.
I like 11. I think I went there in 2016 before I went to Holy Shit. But I want to backtrack before I get all fucking ADHD to acknowledge you that I like that you corrected that Wyoming is a state, not a city.
Yeah.
And oddly, like one of the things that I quit, like when I was going on this whole like dopamine detox, was strip clubs. Because somehow before, when I was drinking, I would always end up at a fucking strip club. Like I look through my phone, I go to Atlanta, we're like doing real estate stuff, boom, end up at the strip club, popping bottles. Here, I go to a mastermind, boom, end up at fucking Sapphires. And I'm like, where the fuck is all of my fucking money going? I look through my phone, I have like pictures of like wads of cash, but then the next day I don't fucking remember anything. I'm like, man, like was I addicted to the alcohol or the strippers? But for a guy to say that you didn't really feel connection going there, you know, because I think most guys, when they look for intimacy and connection, they think strip clubs are like the easiest place to go to pull girls. And I'm like, no, you're going there to pay for attention. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the hard defining, you know, boundary between being a worker in the industry and being someone that likes the entertainment.
Yo, I think strippers might be the best sales people in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I completely 1,000% fucking agree. Just the simple fact that you said that, because I've said so many times, I'm like, me being a stripper has taught me more about business than I've ever learned from a businessman. I know how to sell myself and sell myself for a lot less than what they are expecting to get out of me.
Yeah.
Bro.
If that makes sense.
I said that about being a drug dealer. I was like, I think I've learned more about business when I was dealing drugs when I was a
Yeah.
teenager,
Deadass
more
though.
than like any of these 10 years has taught me.
I mean, to give you some background on me, like my dad to this day got a coffee truck in New York City. I was supposed to have a tattoo. I don't have any tattoos, but I'm getting my first one here. I'm really excited for it. I've always wanted to get a tattoo that had to do with New York, but I felt weird getting one while living in New York. Like, no knock to anybody, but why would I rep the city that I'm from when I'm living there? It kind of always just didn't sit right with me. I'm also a really weird dude. I want to point that out. Like,
Maybe that's why you're on this podcast.
yeah, I'm pretty, like, I tell people, like, yo, I have a running joke on the show. Anytime someone comes on and they use, like, a big word, I'm just like, yo, that was a good word. You know, like, preposterous or, like, some shit like that. I'm like, listen, man, I'm pretty dumb, dude. I just work really hard, and I think I have a pretty dope personality. Everyone I meet gets along with me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't take myself too seriously. And
That's why you have a dope personality, because
Yeah.
you don't take yourself seriously.
Yeah.
so Lana's my girl. I'll give you that $50 later for putting me over.
Am I going to get a finder's fee just for being in this room or what?
Like, yo,
He found me first.
But yo, I wanted to get that tattoo, and the reason why I'm saying it, because it's Spider-Man on like a New York City street pole, and the cross signs is 49th Street and Park Avenue. That's where my dad has his coffee truck for 30 years now. He's been on that same corner.
Yeah.
And I say all that because I feel like I learned about business and how to like work doing that. And I feel that if I didn't work, so I dropped out of college, right? I know I'm bouncing around a lot, but I dropped out of college because I fell in love with creating content. And if I didn't work with my dad for 7 years while building out my show, I don't think I would have been able to ever leave New York and come out here and be able to do the things that I'm doing now and be able to maneuver and learn how to flow with everybody and talk to homeless people the same way I talk to like the billionaires that come into the studio. And it's like learning how to talk to everybody. And my dad, the coffee truck, like fucking learned how to work, yo.
Yeah.
No, self-employed. You don't work, you don't eat 6 days a week. I work 6 days a week, and I'm waking up at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So like, I say all that because with the tattoo and how you were saying how like you learned so much more, like in like the last 10 years doing whatever you were doing and the masterminds and stuff, I feel like you never know where those lessons are gonna come from. And I'm a big experience guy, so if you tell me some shit and that I've never experienced, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, yo, that's crazy. Like, how could you do that? Be like, oh, for you, it probably worked out. You know,
Yeah.
like I like to experience things, and then I'll be able to chime in. And if I haven't, I'll be like, oh, yo, for you, it might work. I can't knock it if
Yeah.
that makes you happy or that helped steer you in a right direction. It's like, yo, do your thing, bro. As long as you're not hurting nobody. That's always been my take. Like, yo, if you're not hurting nobody, bro, go nuts.
Yeah, because that's part of not giving solicited advice too. Because there's a lot of people that judge people based on what they do.
Yeah.
And they've never done it themselves, you know. And lately, for me, it's like, would you take advice from someone that you wouldn't trade lives with? And those are the people that's always going to be shitting on you, like, oh, I don't like what you're doing. You should do it this way. And I'm like, well, have you done it? They're like,
Yeah.
no, but I've seen someone else do it. I'm like, well, you haven't done it.
Yeah.
You know, so unless you've succeeded the way I want to succeed, like, I don't think I'll respect your opinion because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But like, let me just take that a little bit backwards and draw the line from there, you know?
Yeah, I like coming on shows like this because every show I usually go on is like a sports show, right? Because like that's what my content is, that's what my background is. So when I come on shows like this, we always have like different conversations and kind of like it allows me to think and also show like a different side of me. Like when I went on Lana's show, I told her that I believe that I have a unique ability to be able to meet a dude and within 5 minutes of talking to them, I could tell how they did with women growing up. Like, did girls fuck with you because you were cool and like you had swag or you had charisma? Or do they fuck with you now because you got money and you're successful? And I could sniff that out within
You
like
got the superficial flex.
I could just tell right away. I'm like, yo, you were a cornball growing up for sure, right? And like I say all that because you asked about like trading lives with anyone. Would you?
No, I think back in my 20s, I probably would have a cool answer for you. But lately, when I've been more empowered and stepping into my own life to be more present in my actual like living identity, I fucking love it. And I don't think I would trade it for anything because I felt like I missed out on it for so many years. Like, I'm 34 this year, and I don't think I started living until like 6 months ago, right? So no, I would not trade lives unless you're talking for like superficial reasons like the money. You know, but would I trade lives with Elon Musk about his intelligence and his ability to innovate? Sure, I would like to know what it's like inside of his mind, but do I want all of his kids? Probably not, just because I don't think I'm responsible enough to trade lives to have like 11 kids, you know, under me and like, you know, trying to use me as a role model because I'm still developing that person. I'm still developing and nurturing that person that I know now my childhood, like my inner child would feel safe with, but I was never safe with myself for like 30 something years up until now that I'm like, wow, I'm finally becoming the person that I'm proud of, that I want to keep going and see where this person takes me. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't think you're wrong. I wouldn't. Yo, I naturally gravitate to people that have been through some shit. Like, I need you to have baggage.
Yeah.
For real, though, because, like, I want you to. Yo, and that could be taken out of context, but, like, what I'm going with is.
You sound toxic.
Like, yo, nah. What I'm saying is, like, yo, I have to know that you could go through adversity.
Facts. I get what you mean.
In any way, like, yo, I got friends that the moment something goes bad, it's like
the end of the world.
the end of the world. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
fuck, dude, like,
resilience.
Yeah. Show me persistence. Show me that, like, that's another reason why I really like jiu-jitsu, right? Like, that's one thing. If I'm not at the studio creating content or I'm not playing Xbox, like, I'm at the gym. I'm at jiu-jitsu. And it's like there's a lot of like microcosms between life and that, because it's like, yo, shit's gonna take time, dude. You're gonna show up often, you're gonna get your ass beat. And then guess what? You're gonna show up again and get your ass beat. And you might get your ass beat for like 6 weeks. And then eventually that dude that's been like fucking you up on the mat, you're gonna submit them. Or you're gonna end up dominating them. And then it's like, oh shit, this is what happens when you put in work. It's like, if the first time I went to my jiu-jitsu class, I got fucking violated by like a 15-year-old, 130-pound kid.
No way. Tell
And I was
us
like-
about it.
I was like 28 years old, and I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for 4 years. And this kid was 14, 15 years old. His name was Joey. And my coach at the time, Sergio Da Silva, he was a fighter, fought in Bellator, and he was a black belt. He was our instructor. He was like, yo, you got to come do jiu-jitsu. I know how you are. You'll fall in love with it. Like, I don't want to say I have an addictive personality, but I do like I'm a big routine guy. I wake up at the same time every day, even on the weekends. I'm at the gym at a certain time. At night, I'm doing the same thing, right? He's like, yo, I think you would love it. So I showed up, and I'm like, what? I'm 28, maybe like, I was pretty heavy. I was like 225 pounds, 230. I'm like under 200 now to you know, put it in perspective. But he's like, yo, go with him. I was like, him? I'm like, oh, come on, bro. This kid's in fucking high school.
Like, I'm gonna wreck him.
I outweigh him by 100 pounds. Dude, he fucking just
Fucked you
violated
up.
me. Yeah,
Fucked
and
you
he
up.
was only training like 6 months. It's not like this kid was a purple belt or something
Yeah.
crazy. And I just like got up, deer in the headlights, had no idea what was happening. He's like, yo, one of two things is gonna happen. You're gonna show up Wednesday, next time it's for class, or you're not gonna do this again. It's like, it's such a microcosm of life, because going back to what I told you, like, yo, I need you to have some baggage. I need you to tell me, like, yo, man, I had a 3-year stretch where like I was going through some shit. I filed for bankruptcy, or like, you know, I was unemployed. I was barely getting by with delivering newspapers or pizza. Like, I was a pizza delivery guy too. Like, I'm like, yo, I need you to have some shit. Like, my favorite people all have had some crazy struggle, and they've gotten through it, or they're getting through it. But to me, like, adversity, I think is sexy.
Yeah. Like me and Lana, we joke about childhood trauma too. Like we can joke about it because we love the humility behind people that can actually bring out their traumas and not use it to project onto others, but just use it as like a kind of like a light. Like we can joke about it.
Traumas are beautiful.
And they're beautiful. They don't have to shape you because that's not who you. It's just something that happened to you. It's not who you are. It's just something that happened to you. It's just how you choose to
use take it. Yeah.
Right. Well, on that point, I have a strong dislike for people that have their trauma be their whole fucking makeup.
Oh, their identity.
Yeah.
Oh.
That I'm like, hey man, look, bro, look, pull the curtain back. I wanted to kill myself a couple years ago for a couple months, like. And I know everyone watching, I know you're glad I didn't, because what would you do without the boy?
I'm so glad you didn't, Nick.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need that clip, too, in particular. I wouldn't be here. You guys are welcome. But, like, yo, I went through some shit, too. Like, I had a group of friends I was doing my show with at the time, and, like, I wasn't star-spangled fucking perfect, and I'll admit that. And I was going through some stuff. I was going to be a police officer. And my parents were pulling me in this one direction, like, yo, stability and job security and a pension. Like, dude, when you're 45, you'll be able to retire. And I was like, bro, all I want to do is fucking create content and shit. And then, like, I was talking to some girl at the time, and I thought that might be the one, as I do air quotes, because I fall in love really easy. That's another reason why I'm single. Because I'm just, like, an all-in kind of guy, you know?
You wear your heart in your sleeve?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so like I had that, my fallout with my friends that I was doing my show with, fallout with another friend. And I'm talking about like childhood friends. And, you know, I owed money to bookies because I had like a crazy gambling addiction. I like just a lot of shit. My family business was going down the drain because of construction going down. So like our spot got moved from where I told you my dad's job was for 30 years. Like it got moved. And then before you know it, where you're making, hypothetically speaking, $100,000 a year, you end up making 30 over the next year. So it's like, you know, I'm fucking going to loan sharks to get money to like just fucking be able to survive. Like, so I was going through mad shit. And then for like a good 3-month stretch, I'd say from like August to Thanksgiving, I was like, yo, I'm going to fucking just take my shit out. Like, I'm going to just go. Like, fuck this. I was super depressed and like I was just going through it. And I think the only thing that saved me, honestly, was like the 2 days a week where I would go and I would record content. And I wasn't even doing jiu-jitsu at the time. But it was just like I was being pulled in so many different directions. And like, you know, it's so much easier, obviously, to talk about it now because like I turned it into something. But that same gambling addiction, now I get to talk about betting for a living. And that's like has helped transpire everything that I'm doing now. And then, you know, like those friends that I had the fallout with and all that, like now I'm cool with them again. But at the time I was like, yo, I'm never speaking to you again. It's like, bro, time heals all, dude. Like eventually time, shit will subside and you'll be fine. And then it was like that girl that I was fucking in love with, haven't thought about her since until now because I'm telling this story. Like, it's just like, yo, you don't know, right? Like, yo, you don't know those. So, and then I end up not being a cop and like my parents hated it, but now I'm doing pretty well for myself. And I'm doing like shit that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, so going back, I know we went on a crazy tangent, but like.
We always do, huh, Lana?
Yeah, every time.
I call it controlled chaos because I always know where I'm going to bring it back whenever I do my show too. But I needed those fucking growing pains, dude. Like I needed to go through all that. And then you realize like who your friends are and you realize like who's really there for you. And like, I want you to be there for me when shit is bad, dude. Don't just come ride the coattail when things are cool now, you know? Like I'm working alongside 2 dudes that I fucking grew up listening to in Cameron and Mace, right? Like I produce and edit their show. It is what it is. And it's like one of the top like sports shows going on right now. And like I have a bunch of friends that have hit me up over the last couple months that I haven't heard from in a while. And I am petty. When I say I'm petty, I have a thing on my phone in my notes. It's literally called the menu. And it's everybody that has ever slighted me in any way. Guy, girl, mom, dad, fuck everybody. Whether good or bad, I've made note like, oh, I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna definitely, and I'm gonna tell you too, like you are entitled to your opinion 100%. If you think what I'm doing sucks and it's not gonna work, cool. But But when it does, I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, remember what you said? Because I do.
September 1998.
It's not that crazy with the dates, but it's like, and yo, I'll
That's
tell
a
you
girl
this.
brain.
And
Yeah,
I'll,
that's
and,
girl brain.
and listen, I'll tell you this too, and I'll give you a prime example. My buddy Dominic, I know him 20 years. One of my best friends. When I was gonna go be a cop and the fallout happened with the show, and I was gonna take it over, he comes to my dad's job in the city, 49th and Park Avenue. And he goes, dude, why are you even going to do your show anymore, man? Like, you've been doing it 4 years. Like, you know, you got a cool thing here. Go open up your food truck and do all that shit. Like, fuck the podcast. And I just turned to him. I was like, hey, man, is it bothering you? Like, am I asking you for money for this thing? Am what I'm doing, is it affecting you in any way? He's like, no. He's like, all right, man, let me be, you know? Put him on the menu. That same kid, when I moved out to Vegas, we went and grabbed a beer. He's like, yo, how's the move going? I'm like, dude, fucking, you know, August 16th, they told me I got to move out to Vegas September 1st. I was out here, right? Like, this shit happened quick. Same dude, we go out. Didn't even ask him for money. On his own, Venmo'd me a couple $1,000s. And he was like, yo, give it to me. You have a year. Give it to me. I know you're going out there for a good thing. You're going for your career. You're not going to fuck around. And I know this is going to help you, because I was like, dude, you know, I maxed out a credit card. I got to ship everything out there. Got a fucking, you know, security deposit and all that. That same kid that doubted me gave me money on his own. I paid him back. But it's like, yeah, just because you're on the menu, it doesn't mean that it's like you're slighted forever.
Yeah.
And then eventually I just think, like, if you're so locked into what you're doing, yo, people eventually are going to co-sign it, whether they want to or not. It's like, yo, at some point it becomes undeniable. Like, yo, you're a fucking persistent motherfucker, man. And it's like, and that's how I describe myself. When they're like, yo, if you could use one word to describe yourself, I'd say I'm persistent.
Yeah. Because a lot of that, you know, there's a lot of people, you've heard that quote, like, there's a lot of people that wants to be a part of the outcome, but they don't want to be a part of the process. But during the process is when you find out who deserves to be at your outcome. And going back to that with the whole vulnerability thing, I just want to acknowledge you for even saying, like, you have a menu, because I think a lot of men can't distinguish between what they want to use as revenge, and that somewhere in the middle that you understand what forgiveness for humanity is, because in that story, there's a lot of humanity that reflects his goodwill and his seeing you for who you are. And he actually has the value, like, he actually values you as a friend, even though he understands that he may or may not have wronged you. I don't know how ethical, moral other people might be, right? But he, like, in a way, like, you didn't answer it in an aggressive way to where he's like, what the fuck? Because you could have easily been like,
oh,
like,
for
all toxic,
sure.
like, fuck off, dude.
And
you
yo,
know?
look, like I said before, I was around that time, I was very difficult to deal with, because I was going through my own shit. And again, the experience thing that we were talking about, like, it was a big lesson for me that, like, yo, just because you're going through some stuff doesn't mean you have to lash out at those people. They have no idea. They had no idea. You know what I'm saying? So, like, now, ever since then, I'm a little too open with my shit. Like, I'm a little too out there with, like, everything. So, like, I don't have no skeletons in my closet. Like, everything's out there, bro. So if you come out and you're like, yo, you know, I can't believe you said this. It's like, yeah, it's there. Like, I don't hide behind it. You know what I mean? So, like, with him, and just, you know, I hate using this word because people just throw it around too much, but, like, yo, I'm super fucking blessed with the people that I grew up with. And, like, him being one of them, where when my group of friends, like, my core group of friends, like, they'll talk shit to my face, but then in private, they got me. You know what I'm saying?
Those are the best
like,
friends.
Those are like, dude, why'd you fucking wear that outfit? Like, yo, you look like shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you want to be on TV and shit? Like, what the fuck are you wearing?
Yeah.
Or you know, like, I went back home for Thanksgiving, and every Sunday I used to play football in this league, and a lot of the guys there know about, like, Cameron and Mace. So, like, I've been on their show a couple times, just making spots and whatnot, and a lot of the guys would come up to me and be like, yo, bro, that's so fucking cool. Like, New York legends, like, holy shit, I can't believe it. And then my friend Finney, who's, like, one of my best friends, they're all, like, complimenting me, like, yo, I'm proud of you, bro, congrats. And, like, he's changed. He goes, yo, he's a herb, yo, and just, like, walked away. But it's like, to me, like, that's our interaction. That's like our
Yeah.
friendship. You know what I mean? Like, talking shit to me in public, but like in private, like when I'm not there, it's like, nah, yo, I got you. You know what I mean? So I do have a question for you, because I said that I describe myself as persistent. What's one word you would use to describe yourself?
I think a lot of the time, I think from 2020 and everything I went through, I relied on the word grit,
Okay, I like grit.
because at one point or another, like there's been a few times where I'm pretty close to the end too, but there's that something in me that like wants to hold on. And I never understood that word until like you're fighting your demons, you're fighting yourself. Like I was fighting my alcoholism, I was fighting my addiction to drugs. I was fighting like being in like a really long-term relationship that had zero potential, you know, and I think in that time I didn't know why I was holding on, because part of you wants to let go, but you don't know that you're attached to something because of, I think when you brought up the addictive personality,
Yeah.
I didn't know I had that. But when I was talking to my therapist and stuff, they're like, well, it's grit. Like why you're resilient, because how your ability to tolerate abuse shouldn't have to do with your ability to be courageous enough to walk away. You know, so I think that word really stuck with me in the last 4 years, you know, and it's that internal battle that you always have to wake up and you always have to find a way to hold on to your own life. And I think that's like something that it's really meaningful to me in the last few years. Would that word change in the next year? I think so. I just don't know where it is, because I really like the word persistence, right? Because persistent and consistency is just doing something even if you don't see results. Like you said, like you did your show for 4 years. And I was telling Lana, I think during the 21st episode, like after the 10th episode, like I wanted to quit.
Everyone does.
Everyone wants to quit.
Yeah,
like,
I think the number is like 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah. Like on the 10th one, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. Like I don't see any results. I just don't see it. But I asked myself, I'm like, do I love it? Like, does it show who I am? Like, you know, Alex Hormozy was like, does this give me a stack of undeniable proof that I am going to be who I say I am? And I'm like, if I'm going to determine like to do something, like I'm going to fucking do it. And I'm going to like fight for that person that says they're going to do it. And just to talk to her, she was like, it's just about showing up, right? So you can't really show up in your life if you're not showing up for yourself. So I think grit is something that like, it's really hard to explain, but there's just a really deep part of you that like goes inward and fight all of the limiting beliefs. It's like, what's my purpose? Why am I doing this for? Like, what's the point of this? Because at any point of, if it sounds to me like you've been through like suicidal depression too, like it's rough. Like when you sit with yourself by yourself and you realize like no one really gives a shit, you know, and it's like how empty that feeling is. And if you don't have something to hold on to, like you probably, it's much easier to let go of life than it is to hang on and to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I could give you any advice, I'd say don't lose that word. I think grit is what like me, I hope I never like not describe myself as persistent. Like, yo, I did my show for 6 fucking years, didn't make $1. No dollar. 2 episodes a week, every week. Damn. 6 years. Like, yeah, did I have a couple, and when I say like didn't make $1, I mean like a sustainable income. Did we have like a one-off sponsor come in and give us like $10,000 for the football season? But there were 6 of us that got split up. And then when you do the math, it's like, yeah, I really made like $20 an episode that football season, right? Like, but you got that large sum of money when you haven't made shit all this time, and you're like, oh shit, we just got $2K each. Let's go, bro. And then and then you get the follow up of like standards and protocol, right? Like, oh, we got to do an ad read every week, every episode, each of us. Like, and then you're sitting back and you're like, it's like $25 an episode, right? Mm-hmm. It's basically minimum wage, but it's dope, and it's the first time that you make money. And then I launch a Patreon, and then you have like that core group of 100, 150 people that give you money every week, every month, and it's like, yo, that's cool too. And then you build relationships with them where, dude, if someone's giving you $40 a month, I think you should know their name. It's a gym membership. You know what I mean? Like, I always think of the thing that has really helped me, and with everything I do, it comes down to these things. Do I genuinely love doing it? Sounds so cliche, but this is what helps me. Do I genuinely love doing it? I'll find a way to monetize it. And 3, I hope my perspective never changes. That's it. That's like, and get shit done. Like the showing up thing that you said, like, yo, you have to, dude. I put out 2 episodes a week for 8 years, and the weeks that I didn't, the following week I would put up 3. And the one time that I didn't was when my friend Sergio, who got me into jiu-jitsu, killed himself. So, and it's like, yo, I can't go record then. You know what I mean? Like, it was literally the day of. And it's like, yo, you gotta, man. Like, persistence, discipline. Like, bro, I never want to work. I hate working out. I tell people this all the time. I hate it. I hate putting my body through that, but I have to do it because I also was fat at one point. So you know how like there's a huge push with like guys and girls, like the 6 foot, right? Like girls need their guy to be over 6 foot. I'm a 5'10" white dude, and I say it with pride. Like I've never been 6'8", and then I became 5'10". You know what I mean? Like I can't control that. I've been 250 pounds, and it's like, hey, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like the showing up thing. Yeah, that's like the backbone of it, and I got that from my pops. Like I told you, like I've never been on a family vacation with my parents.
Me neither.
Never. My dad is self-employed. My mom's a teacher, and like she's off on the summers, but that's when my dad's busiest. So it's like I work with some people. I've worked with people in the past where they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working 5 days this week. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't believe, bro? It's a Tuesday. You have to work. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, yo, I would like 1 day off a week. My only request. And even then, I'm on my couch, I'm chilling. And I don't know if it's OCD, but it's like something with those, like the acronyms or whatever. It's like, yo, I have to be doing something. Like I can't just, but then when I do chill, I feel like I earned it. So my Sundays during the football season, I'm on the couch. Don't text me. Don't bother me. If you want me, come to the house. I'm not leaving. I have this little like footrest thing. I put my feet up. I'm chilling. Like, but I feel like I earned it throughout the week.
Yeah. But why is that you feel like you have to earn it with the amount of productivity that you have? Because you're obviously doing something meaningful. You said you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it really shows because people who love what they're doing, like they just radiate different.
Yeah.
Right?
It's infectious.
Because I know I've been in rooms with a lot of people that are super rich, billionaires, whatever you want to call them. They're
lame as shit.
Like, they just look, they feel really miserable.
Yeah.
But when they talk, it's just performance ego. Oh, I closed this, this portfolio and this and that. And, and I'm just like, okay, but how do you really feel?
Yeah.
And then when they really tell me, like after a couple drinks, they're like, my wife's cheating on me. Like my kids don't want to talk to me. And it hurts me to hear that because on a superficial level, like that's why we call it the flex, right? Like they look really successful. Their Instagrams together, they drive nice cars, but they don't have a happy home. And even with that productivity thing, I feel like a lot of those men that I knew drove themselves into work because they don't have space, right? Because for men, I don't know if you guys are wired differently, but you guys are not taught to rest, and that rest doesn't need to be earned. It's just a part of you. And like when you're productively resting, it actually recharges you and it makes you even more productive.
Yo, yeah.
Not to where you're burning out and then you're like dying.
Ooh, I hate that word. I hate burning out.
Yeah.
Don't.
Why? Tell me more. Why?
Nah.
Is this a trigger word?
Yeah. Burning out gets me pissed because I feel like, so I have a lot of people, because this is the busiest I've ever been. Like this is the busiest I've ever been the last couple months. But it's also the most successful I've ever been from like a financial standpoint. Like I made more money in the last quarter of 2023 than I did all of 2023. Like but I'm super busy, right? And this isn't a flex. That's not my thing at all. But what I'm saying is like, I've had a lot of people be like, dude, are you not worried about having no time for yourself? Are you not worried about you're pretty much working every day? Are you not worried about, it's like, bro, just because you can't, don't put that shit on me. I was like, I am a fucking dog. I'm a dog. I am going to get shit done and I'll figure it out. And again, what I told you, the 3 pillars that I go back to, it's like, I genuinely enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of do the same things over and over again.
And it's like the season that you've been waiting for too.
Right.
Like you've worked so hard to get here.
Yeah.
and you know that this is not going to be the rest of your life, like that you're going to be this busy, you know?
Fuck
So
yeah, I
it's
want it to be like this.
all the time.
Yeah, dude, are you kidding
What
me?
are you
I
running
say
from?
the same thing.
I'm not running from
literally.
anything. This is,
Right.
yo, this is a big issue I have, and another thing that kind of just triggered me now. It's like
Yeah, let's do
yo,
it. Lana, we did it.
It really upsets me when people become successful and then just tell everybody that they're miserable about that. Like they'll be like, oh, you know, I thought all this money was gonna make me happy, but then I'm not happy. It's like, what? Are you fucking crazy, dude? I used to have to work for 8 hours a day from 2:30 in the morning till 11, flipping eggs and making coffees in fucking -degree weather in the city, 6 days a week to make $450. Now I make that in an edit on the couch in my boxers. And you're gonna tell me that, like, that's why I said perspective.
I got a visual.
Dude,
Yeah, me too.
yo, so
What color was the boxer in your
I
head?
get
Blue.
red boxers. Yo, I love, and again, I think it starts in the home, right? I think it starts with my parents and like my group of friends that I had around me. Perspective, I think, is everything. Like if you don't have perspective,
1000%.
I feel bad for you. And if you don't have people that fucking tell you when you're being a piece of shit, I feel bad for you also. Like I kind of put people through testers. Like I set them up to give me the answer I don't want to hear. And then I'm like, yo, I can't fuck with you. Like I'll tell them something to see if they agree with me, even though I don't want them to agree with me. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'll set them up in a sense to see like if they're really looking out for me or not. And my parents from day one have always just been like, yo, bro, it's going to be hard. When I dropped out of college, my dad was like, yo, the only thing I'm going to do for you, I'm not going to even hand over the business to you. It's like, nah, because this was my shit. The only thing I'll do for you is you could work with me. So you'll be able to make some money. You'll be able to get by. Everything else, just figure it out. So I'm a big figure it out guy, as long as I'm having fun doing it. And my mom, I called her like 2 weeks before all this shit started in the football season. I was like, dude, I'm going to be so busy. I don't know, this and that. She's like, yo, you used to edit for free. Now you're going to make money for that and you're going to complain? She's like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
I love your parents.
Yo, the best. Shout out to mom and dad,
Yay.
Tony and Kathy, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be like that if it wasn't for them. And she's like, are you fucking crazy? You're going to make more money than me. My mom's a teacher. You make more money than me. In your boxers. You can play Xbox while doing it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So when you said the burning out word, again, we went on a tangent because that word drives me fucking crazy. Like, nah, yo, just because you can't operate the way I can don't mean that you got to put that shit around me. Like, my friend Josh that I work with yesterday, he's like, yo, do you feel like you get burnt out? I was like, oh, no, don't say that word. No,
Now we know
we're
his
not.
Achilles heel.
Yeah, nah. Just because you're not built for it, or like you're soft and you haven't been through some shit. Going back to what we were talking about before,
Right.
Lana, about like, yo, you gotta go through like shit, man. Like my favorite people have all been through, like, they got let off their job, they bounced back, like they got divorced, they bounced back, like a girl broke their heart. It's like, yeah, man, I don't want it all sunshines and rainbows. Like I need that grit.
Yeah.
I need that persistence. It shows me that when shit hits the fan,
They're the ones to call.
you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, like I joke about it too when I talk about, you know, in a zombie apocalypse, who you're gonna call. Because I feel like when I was teaching college kids, like I don't want to offend anyone, but you know how now they joke Gen Zers are so soft compared to us. Like back then when I was growing
like
up, when I was
McDonald's
21, I was
ice
working like
cream.
fucking 60, 80 hours a week, like 3-4 jobs, because I was running from something that I later found out in therapy. But it wired me differently to where a lot of girls now, that's why, like, there's no offense to like OnlyFans and stuff. When I quit the bar, all of my patrons, they were literally like, set up an OnlyFans, like, we got you. But I was so fucking high in my ego, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna move to Vegas. I'll figure it out without becoming a stripper. And then when I got here and I couldn't get a job, I was like, okay, maybe I should become a stripper. I gotta do something, right? But going back to that, I think it just builds character differently, and it builds you with substance, because there's a lot of condiments people out there. They tell you what you want to hear. They're all like, oh my God, like, you're amazing, this and that. And then I just think it's not the right kind of softness. There's softness that comes from being really empowered and really embraced in knowing who you are and living authentically to like your integrity. And they're soft as in, like, if you throw them in a fucking little situation financial is the easiest one to measure, and they'll crumble. They'll crumble. Like, they'll crumble in a breakup. They'll crumble, like, under pressure. But when you brought up that whole chaos thing, which is, it's kind of good because I do see both sides of the perspective, because I thrived in chaotic environments too. Part of, you know, what we love is childhood trauma, but it just, I think it just wires us differently to where we actually don't crumble, and we actually sustain our energy, and we see things differently, versus people that's never been through adversity. They're like, oh my God, like, I'm so anxious and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm anxious every day, but when you put me in, like, in the middle of some shit, I'm like, I've been more never calm than ever. Like,
Yo, and I think a lot of it had to do with like athletics growing up, and then again, my parents, man, fuck, I'm so happy they raised me the way they did, and like, I did after school Greek for 12 years. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would go for 2 hours to after school Greek. I fucking hated it. I mean, hate it. Now I could speak, read, and write Greek fluently, to the point when people meet me and I speak Greek to them, they're like, you were born here? Like, I don't have the accent, like, fucking. So now I know a second language, and it's like popping, right? And sometimes to troll my friends, I'll be like, yo, you know that they say people that know 2 languages are smarter than people that only know 1? I was like, so I'll be like, yo, y'all can't fuck with me. No way. You know what I'm saying? So just
us
to be
three can, right?
just to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And,
all 3 of us can, huh?
yeah, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't speak English, I think I would be fine, except how I looked in Vietnam. Like, I looked like a whitewashed Asian when I went to Vietnam. But once I spoke, like, if I'm on the phone, like, they can't tell.
They can't tell that.
There too.
Yeah, that's dope, yo. That's so dope. And like, yo, my mom, you're talking about like childhood trauma. I didn't really have any. Like, but they were tough on me though. Like, my mom would be like, yo, listen, man, one day you're gonna get older, and it ain't gonna be fucking.
But see, wait, that's also perspective.
Perspective, yeah.
That's perspective. Some people will look at their parents being strict as childhood trauma. Like, you hit me, you yelled at me, you put me in a corner. Whereas we see it as like, my parents raised me right.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my mom never laid her hand on me until I was 23 years old.
What did you do when you was 23?
I went away for the weekend and I didn't let her know. To this day, text me when you get there.
Oh.
That's it. When I went to Colombia in August, just text me in the morning. I just want to know that all your fucking limbs are intact. There's not a kidney missing. Like, just text me in the morning. Text me when you land. You know, like, you ever seen the meme where it's like, I'm 32 years old, but I text my mom when I land in the airport, and like the girl is on the phone just like texting. Like, yo, that's how I am, right? So I went away for the whole weekend. My friend Espo has a summer house in Connecticut, and like one night it was like Friday at midnight. We just got in the car and we drove to Connecticut, and I just didn't. We called it the woods. So like, we would have service, but we would tell our parents we didn't have service and shit. And we kind of just chill on like the dock and, you know, water tube and all that, chill on his boat and just get fucking hammered, right? And I get back home Monday morning. My mom's like, where the fuck were you? What the hell? You know, just yelling at me. I was like, Ma, come on. Like, I'm 23 now. Like, so she went to hit me and I grabbed her hand. I was like, that's not happening. She's like, all right. Yo, 3 days later, I come out the shower. She backhanded me. And I mean,
butt naked and wet.
I just had the towel on. She backhanded me. I fall back on the toilet, dick and balls out, towel down, just so fucking vulnerable. That's trauma right there. Your fucking balls and dick out in the toilet. Your mom just slapped the fucking life out of you, and she's like, "Yo, you could turn 50 years old, I'll still fuck you up," and just walked away.
Damn.
So like, yo, I didn't get hit growing up. I didn't get hit. But the way my parents disciplined me was like, yo, I loved playing sports, right? So I would wait all week to go play my soccer game on Saturday, go play football with my friends. Like, yo, you're not allowed to go. Wow. I'd be like, I would beg for ass whoopings. I'd be like, yo, hit me, let me go. It's like, nah, I'm gonna hit you where it hurts. No Xbox, no PlayStation. You can't go to football practice. And then I remember one time I'm trying to think of stories. 5th grade, I told my mom, yo, Miss So-and-so don't like me. She's like, who gives a fuck? Not everyone's going to like you. It's April. In June, you're going to graduate, go to a different school. You won't see her again.
Nice.
Tough it up. You'll be fine. And I just think about, like, nowadays, your kid comes up to you, yo, the teacher don't like me. Netflix special. We got to get this chick out of here. Not little Nick. Like, nah, little Nick is a piece of shit, bro. Like, sometimes that's the answer too. And you can't do nothing to a shitty kid.
Yeah, because public school is its own fucking issue.
Oh God, yeah.
So,
That
Yeah,
was
man.
hilarious just now.
Yeah, the
Are you
trauma
still
stuff.
processing the dick and balls out in the toilet?
Bro, that's a clip. I just wrote it down. I was like, no, this is going
I'm gonna tag
viral.
my mom too. I'm gonna tag my mom too.
Tag the mom, bro.
Yeah,
I'm actually taking away a lot of-
she slapped the shit out of me.
I love that.
And yo, I felt like that was like 23 years of wanting to put her hands on me.
She's like, you're old enough now. It's not child abuse.
Backhand, yeah.
Yeah. I actually really like that parenting thing. I took away a lot of stuff that I feel is like really calling to me, because I think before I had a whole thing of how to raise children and how to, you know, embrace vulnerability without being shown vulnerability, because we talk a lot about our parents not being emotionally mature and dealing with us. But now I see it from a different perspective as a grown up, because I'm like, they're just people, they're going through our shit. Because I'm like, imagine me at this age, if I had a kid right now, like I would fuck that kid up. Or actually, if I had the kid in my 20s, I would fuck up that kid's life. You know, so I'm glad I never, knock on wood, like got pregnant by the wrong person or got married to the wrong person. Because
Dude, I think that's a lottery.
yeah.
It's a lottery you're going to hit. Like my parents been together 37 years, and like I recently asked them when I went back for Thanksgiving. No, it was in the summertime. We went out to dinner, and I asked her, I was like, yeah, of the 36 years at the time, how many were great? Snap answer, she said 3. I was like, for real? I was like, how many were shitty? She's like 12. And then everything else was kind of like, you know, coin flip. And she's like, yo, that's the problem with your generation. Like, again, adversity and like
Yeah.
shit goes south. It's like, you know, if us two are dating and like you do something I don't like, it's like, oh, fuck this bitch. I can't be with her no more. It's like, bro, my mom was like, yo, this is the guy I love. I've been with him all these years. Like, yeah, it's not always going to be pretty, yo. Like, it's going to be some foul shit.
Yeah. Like
You
lately.
can't. Another thing, like, I don't trust people that agree with me on everything.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a thing.
You have
That's
to be
a fucking
disagreeable.
thing.
Yo,
Being disagreeable is hot.
Yeah, because it's like you have your own mentality. Have your own.
If not, you
thought
have a fucking
process.
echo chamber.
Yes.
It's like, yes, man.
So
yes.
facts.
Good
And yo,
idea. Good idea.
again, I don't really talk to girls on shows like this, so I love hearing perspective. I'm not married to my opinions ever. Like I might come in here with one
Facts.
thing, and you'll be like, "Nah, yo, it's like this." I'll be like, "Okay, I can see it." Right?
I see your perspective.
So, yo, I've never understood when like
People who.
when girls describe guys as controlling.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. I've never controlled any girl. I've been like, yo, I don't want you to control me either. Girl I was talking to before I left to move to Vegas, my friend Joey calls me, he goes, yo, Josh's bachelor party is in July. We're thinking of Vegas or Scottsdale. He's like, can you help me book? Because I'm known as like,
That guy.
I take initiative. If I don't pursue it and like book a room or some shit, it's never gonna get done. So I was like, yo, I'll help. The girl was with me. We were watching a movie on the couch. She's like, what was that about? I was like, oh, yo, Josh's bachelor party. Josh is one of my best friends. She's like, you're gonna go? I was like, of course I'm gonna go. She's like, no, you're not. I was like, I was like, nah, there's no way you're being serious, right? She's like, yeah, you can't go on it. I was like,
What?
yo, I'm 30. My parents haven't told me what to do in like 20 years. I was like, we can't have that. Like, we just can't have that. So, like, is that controlling? I would say so.
That's
Right?
not controlling. That's
That's-
boundaries.
Yeah.
That's
So-
completely different.
Right. So, like, my question to you is, how would you describe a guy that's controlling?
Well, to back that up, I think that's just her insecurity
She's
getting
controlling.
projected. She is controlling, but you don't know where the insecurity is stemming from, because there's a misconception. If it's not a trusting, it's not about you, because there is a thing that guys that go on bachelor parties, it's hookers and blow and all of these things, right? So if it's a trusting, then it is about your relationship. If it's just her insecurity of you being around other hotter women in Vegas, then that's her own thing. So until you get to the root of that, which a lot of women don't know why or how they're insecure and how they're projecting it and how they're bringing those baggage into the relationship, they project that as controlling. But it's really a hurt little girl that doesn't know how to like
How to
speak
take
up.
no for an answer.
know.
Yo, what a misconception bachelor parties are. Because, like, dude,
Why?
the bachelor party we went on, we spent 4 hours in the pool, fucking 16 guys just one-handing catching a football. Like,
oh no,
it's like,
So wholesome.
but I'm saying like, yo, everyone thinks it's like this outrageous, crazy shit and hookers and all that. It's like, nah, not
Let
really,
me
yo.
plan a party for
We
you
had a-
because I've been
Yo,
a
look,
stripper.
we had our fun too, but I'm saying like it's not the craziness that everyone always thinks. Like it's just really not. And maybe because like my group of friends were like dope, you know, like we don't do anything stupid like that. But
I think it's the companion, and it's just about the connection too, because not a lot of dudes can be vulnerable with each other and actually hang out.
yeah, we've
without,
had the
like,
same group of friends for like
all
20
chugging
years.
beers
Yeah,
and being
yeah.
all macho, and I'm probably gonna butcher like masculinity, but like it's just that false sense of security on the outside. But if you have a group of genuine dudes that like actually got your back, that's why I really respected when you said that you love the friends that talk shit to your face but
Fuck
actually
yeah.
support you. Those are the friends I wish I had, because I had the opposite. I had everyone that was nice to me to my face, but when shit fucking hit the fan, I was by myself.
And I commend you because like I'd expect you to be way softer then, and I don't get that from you. Like when you said the grit thing, for real. No, I mean like we were talking about like the generations and shit, right? And I think a lot of that comes from like the coddling. Great book. I'm not a reader, but I did read this book. Wanted to get him on my podcast. Still would love to get him on. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind. And it coincides with like social media boom. And like now everyone's depressed. Everyone's suicidal. Everyone's like popping pills to negate that. And a lot of it had to do with like cancel culture. Like when did cancel culture really, really happen? It's around the time when social media emerged, because now people have a voice. And I don't want to shit on social media. It's given me everything I have.
Yeah.
Right? So like it's always a gift and a curse when I approach social media conversations, because like for me, for a business standpoint and career, it's fucking amazing. Personally, I wish I didn't have to use it because I'm way more of an in-person guy, right? Like I'm way cooler in person than I am like on social, even though everything you see on my social is like the same thing. You know, like I don't come off as one thing or another. But I say all that because I think like The Coddling of the American Mind was such a fascinating book. And I always reference it as like probably my favorite book ever, because it's like, yo, if you were coddled by your friends and your parents, then when you hit the real world, then people aren't going to be nice to you, dude. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like that's just a reality. Not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to be your friend. And not everything is for everybody, yo. Like, I know my content's not for everybody. I know your content's not for everybody. It's like, it doesn't need to be. I just let it be. And like, you could carve out your own lane and be successful in it. And that could just be it. Like, I love hip hop and rap, right? Like, there's so many dudes that are known as like mixtape legends. And like, they have dope mixtapes, but they never, I'll mention them. And they'll be like, who the fuck is that? I'll be like, what? You don't know them? It's like, yeah, well, they never went mainstream.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
But they're huge underground.
But they're huge. Like, and they've built a career with like those million people that fuck with them. Like, they've made them
low-key,
successful.
Like, Kendrick Lamar was underground for like 5-6 years before he ever went mainstream.
Dude, I saw J. Cole open up for Mano
You see?
in Buffalo State in 2010. Mano, High Hater. He opened up for him and Young Jeezy.
Yeah.
Think about that now.
Yeah.
J. Cole's like,
A legend.
it's like Drake, Kendrick, and him as like the last 15 years of down. He opened up for Mano and Young Jeezy. And it's like his mixtape was like a thing, and he built this like audience and community, and that was it, you know. R.I.P. Mac Miller, the same thing. Like he built this community, and it got him to fucking stardom. It's like, yo, you don't need 100 million people to like your shit. Would you like to? Yeah, that'd be dope. Don't get it twisted, but dude,
Do it for the little bit of people that are following you now.
yo, I get about 1,000 to 2,000 people to listen to every episode,
Yeah.
and that's gotten me this far.
I know. I get excited over
Right?
my
And it's-
300. I'd be so excited. I'm like, I get like 50 views on my podcast. Yeah.
But yo, perspective,
We're
dude.
just getting started.
Yo,
Bro, I know.
perspective though.
I'd be excited as fuck every time I get a view. I'm like, oh, I'm growing.
Like,
I'm
where did you
growing, bitch.
download from? I'm
Yeah,
stalking.
yeah.
I'm like, Wyoming. I'm just kidding.
Perspective.
Perspective is fuck.
Yeah.
I remember when I was super excited when I had when my podcast got 20 views, my episode, because they had like 0 for a long time. Like just like you said, like don't give up. You guys were saying something. I literally wrote it down because I was like, I had never wanted to stop doing my podcast ever. Like, I remember I was posting for like 2-3 months. It was probably like for like 2 months where I wasn't getting any views, like at all, like nothing. It was like 0, 0, 0. But I was still posting. When I had 20 views on my podcast, I thought I was the shit, bro. I was so excited. When I had 50, I was like, oh, we popping. Now it's like 300 an episode. I'm like, oh, yo, it's growing. It's growing.
Yo, I'll tell you this, and I won't mention the athlete on air for privacy, but I'll mention it to you guys off air. I was hanging out with this athlete. Big fucking name athlete. You know what his guilty pleasure is?
What?
He watches Call of Duty streamers on Twitch, and it's like 5 or less people watching the streamer.
Really?
And he'll just like sit there and watch. And I'm like, why? He's like, hey, bro, you never know. So think about it, right? So you got 20 views.
Yeah.
What if it's fucking the caller daddy chick watching you? Or what if it's Rogan?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather give me 5 views and it's them 2 watching than give
Dead
me.
ass, though.
Then
I'm
1,000
like,
people judging you, you know?
type shit, because I'm like,
I mean, people are gonna judge you anyway, dude. You gotta get that. That's another. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I know my content is good. Like from there, I can't figure out what the algorithm is. One video does 10,000 views, the next one does 120. Like whatever. I believe that the content is good. I'll put it out there, and then whatever happens. But it's a big body of work. Like again, every opportunity I've gotten, people are blown away. They're like, my following is what it is. It's not like hundreds of thousands. It's like I think I just got over 9,000 followers, and I've had my Instagram since 2010. Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And I'm
You
putting
never
out
gave
shit.
up.
That's persistence
Yo.
right
Never
there.
gave up.
Yeah,
and that's
man.
what he said he was.
But it's fun, dude. It's super fun, and that's really what it comes down to for me.
Yeah. I think I want people to follow me for the right reasons too, and actually just genuinely support me as a person, because we're always evolving, and we're not in a niche too where we stay the same. Like with you have the sports thing, right? Sports always changing, but sports is sports. Like there's a niche around it. But let's just say if you were to go do something else, like they still love Nick for Nick, because that's your legacy of being a good person. Like they're still gonna follow you.
Absolutely. And it's one problem I find in the content space a lot, that people do not show their personality. I say that all the time to people. Like, I'm in a sports and sports betting space, right? Dude, you could go find how many yards per carry a player gets and points per game from so many other places. But you have to have your personality show. You have to show who you are. You have to be able to put your own spin on it. And then eventually, like, people listen to the show for you. Like, it's important to build your personal brand. And that was an issue that I was having for so long. And then, like, now my personal brand is sports betting. It is what it is. And Jiu-Jitsu. That's it. And like FIFA highlights, because I love playing FIFA.
FIFA highlights.
That's it. It's like, yo, that's your personal brand. And then you have your brand, that's your show. And, you know, a big problem that I have personally is that I don't have no difference between personal and business, because my business is personal. So for me, it's, oh, don't take it personally. Yeah, I'm gonna, bro. This is my show. Like, when I have a guest on and they bail an hour before the show, like, oh, dude, it's not personal. It's like, yeah, it is, dude, because now I got to make shit up and go on the fly. And it's just like my business is personal. That's always how I viewed it. That's how it makes me feel better. And I just always think that as long as the content is good and it's fresh and it doesn't grow stale to me, because if it grows stale to you, it grows stale to your audience. And like, yo, don't be afraid to try new shit. Like, it's just cool to always evolve.
Yeah. Since we're on the topic of social media, I want to kind of end on this question that it's kind of been just on my mind a lot, because we're predominantly trying to build personal brand, being, you know, like a digital persona, right? But I've been asking other guests this question, is like, if social media didn't exist, how do you see your life and what would your legacy be?
Social media didn't exist, I'd probably be a... My number one goal when I got out of high school was to be a football coach. That was like my shit. I love football. I grew up a soccer player, and I was really good at soccer, like very, very good. And then I just fell in love with football. And I recently just sent text messages for the holidays to my 2 coaches. Coach Hernandez and Coach Brosnan at Bryan High School in Woodside, Queens. I was just like, yo, thank you, dude. Like, if I didn't have that awesome first experience meeting you guys and falling in love with football, the backbone of my show and my content is football. So if I didn't fall in love with football and you guys made me quit my first love, like my first love was soccer, excuse me. But my passion and the thing I really fucked with was football. It's because of them two. Like, so they kind of birthed me a career. And a question that I like to ask guests, and I know you just asked me something, I'm not trying to get sidetracked from that, but it's like, what's your biggest regret? And it has to be something. You can't be like, oh, I live with no regrets. Like, bullshit, bro. Like, there's always something. Maybe you didn't talk to that girl at the bar that you found attractive and like whatever it might be, right? So for me, mine, I always say was quitting soccer when I did, because I was getting recruited by some D1 schools as like a sophomore. And then I went to Europe and I played, and like there were some Greek leagues that wanted me to like maybe move out there for a summer and play. But then again, who knows if at like 20 I didn't blow out my knee and then, or like tore an Achilles and my soccer career ended. Whereas I stopped playing soccer, I fell in love with football because of my two coaches, and that's given me everything I have today. So is it a regret? I don't know the answer to that. Again, perspective and experience.
It's a redirection from the universe.
Yeah, everyone wants to be a professional athlete, but now it's like, yo, I can actually make money talking about this, and I can have a way longer career. Like an athlete's career ends at like 30, kind of, or like for me, I'm still young in my space, like very young, you know? And like Joe Rogan didn't start his podcast until he was like 42. I have 18 years on him to get to him starting his show. You know what I mean? So like, again, perspective, man, and I hope I never lose it.
Yeah. Wow, I love that.
No, you're inspirational.
Now I'm thinking about my biggest regrets. I went down the laundry list.
It's definitely not
I went
inspiration.
down
It's
my
just
menu.
real shit, and I think that's why it resonates.
Yeah.
Like, I've had these conversations with Lana. Like,
Too many times.
I find
many
a lot of people corny. Like, I do. I'm like, bro,
At least we're not one of them.
give me someone like rugged and with experience. Don't tell me about your fucking
We're all friends for a reason.
program and like all this.
Substance.
It's like, bro, come on, dude. You're lame as shit. I've seen you interact.
No, bro,
Fuck
thanks for
that.
being here and
Yeah.
like showing up and showing us like a different perspective of what a high value man is.
Exactly.
And like you living in your integrity and just showing up as who you are. Because I feel like a lot of men are still kind of buried under a lot of societal expectation about what a masculine man should be.
Yeah.
Flex culture and all of that stuff. So
yeah,
I
Nick's the type that like you would make me want to bring you a bitch home without you ever demanding it.
Oh.
Type shit, because he has that personality where I'm like, bruh, you're
Yeah.
you're so sweet.
That's the biggest
I
respect
just want to
earned.
spoil you instead of like you don't
earn our
demand
respect,
it.
Nick.
Yeah.
God
Go.
damn it.
Hey, man.
Well, guys, thank you for spending some time with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Nick, where can we find you? Or where, not we. We know where to find you. Where can they find you?
At Nick Dais 10 on all social media, and the name of my show is Veterans Minimum.
Cool. And you can find me on IG at Tonosaurus or at Fit and Frugal Pod. See you next time.